Alright, so now we're going to tackle the spinner part of, you know, blocking out the form during the submit. And I actually Googled what does Microsoft call a spinning wheel, and I didn't go much further than this. And there's no specific name to it. If you Google CSS spinners, they'll either be called spinners or loaders. And I'm going to go ahead and build out just a basic one and then give the end user the option to plug in their own, because see, like with my website or this website for that I'm going to be using for this documentation of this class library, I've got the option to go dark or light, and plugging in one of these things might not agree with the color scheme of whoever ends up using this class library. So we're going to do something, we're going to give them a basic spinner out of the box and then give them the option to plug in their own. Alright, so I am going to call this loading spinner. How about that? Loading spinner dot Blazor. And on my personal website, I actually implemented this, so instead of paining you with and on, because I did it months ago and I don't remember what I did, I'm going to just kind of refer to what I did over there. So one of the things we're going to need is system threading tasks, and we'll need a code block. Let's see, I kind of made it complicated on mine. We'll keep this super simple. So we'll give them the option to choose something. Prop string to use, and we'll set that equal to dash. Default is dash. And of course, we want to make sure they know it's optional. Alright, what else do we need here? I do want to give them the option to have a font size too for everything. So let's do that. Parameter prop int font size in rems. Default that. What I defaulted to 3. I got 6 subscribers. I got a new one. Hi everybody, welcome. Okay, so we'll say keep forgetting to put optional. 74 degrees outside. Inside it's 81 degrees and 78% humidity, which is, I'm just sitting here and it's I really could use a fan. All right, so now we'll do string equal. Yeah, I don't know if I need the default up there because I'm going to be using, I guess I could just use string. No, I don't know how I should do this. We'll keep going. We'll need a timer. And string styles. Do I use that? I don't know if I do. Yeah, I do. Alright, now we're going to need an on after render. On after render. And if it is the first render, we're going to want to should I give them a repeat count? I don't know. We'll put it here. Which, you know me in alphabetical, I need it alphabetical. And repeat count is 5. And we'll say repeat count. Yeah, we don't need default on that. Equal string to use length times 5. Equals bold size, and we'll go font size, Alright, now we need void update object state info, and timer. I should check and see if this is disposable. I didn't on my website, because otherwise, you know, it doesn't, I don't see it the system.timers, there's like 5 timers in .NET now, right? There's a system timers, timer, and yada yada. This one's system threading, tasks, and I'm using this one because that's what I found easiest for me. System threading, auto reset event, false, then 0, and I put 500 milliseconds. And string plus equal string to use, and oh, I do need a default. Yeah, I do. Okay. And if string length is greater than or equal to repeat count, string equals string to use. And then you have to do a status change on this, so invoke async state has changed. Alright, so that should be the code. Now I could do a render fragment child content, which isn't easily discoverable, so which isn't easily discoverable, so I'm gonna call it something else. We'll call it spinner HTML, I guess. Parameter prop render fragment spin HTML, and that should be optional. I remembered this time. Say I'm going to use our Viewport Mask, and inside of that, well, I got something editor required. Oh, cool. So the child content does come up for editor required. I'm going to want to give this a div of class equals d flex. And flex column, is it column? Yeah, it's default, I think it's flex column. We'll see. Justify content, center, align, items, center. And then we'll have a div for the spinner. String. Oh, I forgot the if statement. If spinner HTML equals null, then we'll do this. I've got some extension somewhere in this, and one of the options is don't format the code when you paste in, and I can't for the life of me find the option, so it doesn't automatically format it. So I use Control K, Control D quite a bit, and then we'll give them their spinner if they supply one at spinner HTML. And I'm going to also want to give them the option to have a processing message. So we'll say parameter prop string processing message, I don't know. That'll get passed through from the form. You know, the end user won't see any of this. This will be options on my BF form component. Equal processing request. Alright, so optional message the user sees while the form is being submitted. Even though, alright, so we'll do that, and we'll have another div at processing request message. And down here we're going to do the same thing. X E just to make sure that all this will come out right. Processing request message. And I need all that class stuff on here too. This is code duplication, isn't it? Yeah. This is indeed code duplication. So what we're going to do is refactor this here real quick. We're going to take this. Put that there, Control K D, Control K, Control D, and then here we're going to go X, and we'll do the if statement here. At if spinner HTML equals null, then we'll do a div. Actually, that div should be on the outside of this, shouldn't it? Less code duplication. Okay, so we'll go at string. And guess what, folks? Shift Alt W is back. It was missing for a while, but supposedly it's back. Shift Alt W, and we surrounded it with a div. And else, and then we'll do at spinner HTML. Right? We'll see how that looks. Now, temporarily, I'm going to have to give this a background color. I'm going to, I want to make this somewhat intelligent. Let's just run this and see what happens. So, I'm going to need, on this, a show and hide too, right? This might turn into another badly edited video because I'm winging it here. But this needs a show and a hide too, doesn't it? So let's go public void hide, public void show, and we're gonna have to give this is spinner visible. Bool is spinner visible. Bool is spinner visible. Is spinner visible? True. And is, I should have just, you know what, bad coding habits. I can hit Control copy on that, Control V, Control L. I gotta imagine that's faster than my slow typing. And we're gonna need a reference to that I don't think I need that, do I? Because it's not, this is all dependent on whether or not the, we need a reference to the viewport mask. Viewport mask. Viewport mask. Then we'll do the show and hide on this. At ref equal viewport mask. And then down here, it's just going to be mask show. Yeah. Hide. Control copy. Control V. Show. Who knows if this is going to work. Alright, so now we're going to want to give the form, let's just see if that's working first of all. Yeah, the viewport mask is now, that's good, I like that. Alright, so now we're going to have loading spinner. It's all defaulted, so I don't need to worry about any of that crap. And I got rid of that button in the last video. Yeah, we don't need this. What we need instead is spinner HTML. What do I call it? Loading spinner. Loading spinner. Which we will need that, but we're going to have a temporary button here. At ref equals loading spinner. And void show spinner. Loading spinner. Show. Button. Temporary just to see if it's working. Maybe I shouldn't bother with this, but at on click equal show spinner. Show spinner. Alright, let's see if we get any progress here. Survey says no dice. It is working though. I need to do Control Shift R to get that to work better. Alright, come back to our thingamajigga-jobber. And for now, we're just going to give it a, we're going to go to my, where is that? My Hello Dolly.
Hello, Dolly. This is Louis Dolly.
Thingamajigga-jobber. What do I call that thing? Viewport Mask. We'll get rid of that. And on my loading spinner, for now I'm just going to slap some CSS on it. Background color, white, border, 1px solid black. That way we can see it. And now let's implement this thing for real in the form. So we do need this method actually, don't we? X show spinner. but we don't need this button anymore. We'll give it another property here, parameter, another parameter, prop, bool, show spinner on form submit event. I don't know. 1, 2, 3. It is optional, right? Because I'm going to default it. I'll say the viewport is masked and spinner default is true. So now in this form we need a valid submit, async task valid submit, and we'll give it up here valid submit, and if show spinner on form submit event, then we'll want to go spinner dot show. Then we'll call await on valid submit dot invoke async, and hopefully this will just automate. Do I really need an if statement here? I guess so. It's a little clearer. Show spinner on loading spinner dot hide. Alright. So now let's go over to our Bootstrap forms page example or testing ground, and we'll do an artificial delay here. Watch this. Await tab, and it gives me an extra W there. Await task delay. Give me a second. And I'm going to need to default these values. I may skip this so you don't have to watch me type all this crap out, but I'm going to default these values for now. Alright, so I've got some issues here. I spent the time and I went through and put some console write lines in here. First thing I did was an artificial delay to simulate the form being submitted. Now, this is what the end user is of the class library. He's going to use my BF forms. He's going to call onValidSubmit, which is this, and he does his logic to send the data to a server. And this onValidSubmit is actually over here in the BF form, and that calls BF form valid submit, which is down here. I've got a console write line there, and then if the thingamajigger jobber needs to be shown, then it calls show spinner, which is over here, console write line. That shows a viewport mask, which is over here, console write line. And then when valid submit invoke async, when that is done and it's awaited, then it should hide it, right? Let's see what happens. Now, I could swear that I should enlarge this for you to see. I could swear that the async keyword, async await, the way it works in C#, at least on the server, is that, you come in, you're processing a request, and you make a call to the database, and you await save changes async, is that When that is called, it lets go of the thread, and then the execution of the code stops right there, and it waits for the task completed event to be called or triggered or whatever, and then it continues execution of the code from then on. But that is not what happens here. As you can see, the BF form valid submit is called first. See how that just popped in there? Let me show you that again. So let's watch what happens here. Keep an eye, let me clear this. Keep an eye down here to see when everything gets called. See how there's no, and then the valid submit gets called. This valid submit should be getting called in between mask show and spinner hide. And it's not. It's executing all the code on this task delay over here. On this task delay down here, it's executing the hide before it's executing the show. I mean, I don't know what I mean. You know what I mean. It's executing the hide, and that should be getting called after the valid submit, right? So in other words, on the BF form page, I'm awaiting on valid submit, invoke async, and it should wait for that code. It should let go of the thread, and it should wait for that code to get done executing, and then it should call this. And another thing that I'm noticing, I put the button back, is watch this, right? When I hit it, now it's gonna work. Let me see if I let me restart the app here so I can show you another issue. Of course, it'll probably work now, but we'll see. So I put the button back, show spinner, and it shows it like that. And I know it needs to be fancied up here, so it's a little fancier, but that's what it does when it shows the spinner. It's not, div fixed, it's not a fixed position, it's in line. But if I hit reload and then hit it, it works as expected, right? So I'm going to rejigger the code. Okay, so what we're going to need to do, this is several days later, by the way, that's why I'm wearing a different sweater.
On behalf of myself, Jefe, and the rest of the boys, we chipped in and got you this gift. Mochita!
What can you say about such men? It's a sweater! It's a sweater!
And no, ladies, it's not backless. Anyway, so I showed you a few days ago. I showed you how these events happen or whatever, So what we're gonna need to do, unfortunately, is call the method. The end user will have to call the method on their valid submit to get rid of that spinner. Default is true. Don't forget to call hide after form submission is complete. I don't know if that'll help, but now we need a method here. Public void hide spinner. And that's, what was it? I call it on what? Loading spinner. Hide. Do I give them a heads up as to what this does. Seems like the name is self-documenting. Come on, baby. If the spinner is shown during, probably too complicated, right? We'll just go hides the spinner. Alright, let's see if that puppy works now. Oh, I gotta go over to forms page. I don't know why it keeps doing this. I mean, I'm not copying and pasting any code. I'm on a Windows 11 machine, and for some reason that happens. Alright, so on the valid submit, we'll do the task delay, and then we'll call, so we're going to need a reference to this form too, aren't we? Yeah, there's really no way around it, I don't think. So we'll say BF form, BF form. A reference here, ref equal BF form. And down here we'll have to call BF form. Hide spinner. I gotta fix that up too, but it's working as expected. I guess we can go into that CSS, and we want to make this smart. So this might go 2 videos. I'm gonna make it 2 videos, or 3 videos. I did a few extra things here, and of course I had my microphone on mute so you couldn't hear what I was saying. But the loading spinner, I implemented iasync disposable, and did a dispose async, so you can get rid of that now. I showed you that it doesn't actually get disposed, it stays, but eventually it's going to get disposed. And what I did was when the hide gets called, I dispose it, because it just keeps ticking otherwise, even when the form is done submitting and the spinner is hidden, that timer keeps running. And every time I show it, I got rid of the on after render, and every time I show it, I just new up a new timer here, and that way there it gets disposed. And I think that's it for this video. I'm gonna do the I think I already said it, I'm gonna do the fancying up the CSS in the next video.